Okay, welcome back to the 9.2 notes about translations. This is the fourth time I'm making this video. The other 3 times it hasn't worked, so let's hope and pray that this does work so that I don't have to do it anymore. Okay. What I want to do is we want to do this on coordinate planes. In the other video, we did this over using the ruler and that kind of stuff. So what I want to do is I want to talk about this given vector here, okay? We'll talk about this point here, but I want to talk about what a vector is when it's given to us in this form. So I have this vector here, and it's an xy vector, and then the x represents the x movement, okay? Or I shouldn't say x movement. I should say the horizontal movement. Okay, horizontal movement. And the y represents the vertical movement. Okay, so let's go ahead and plot these points for j. I'm going to rewrite these down here. I'm going to write them as j, k, and l. And that's the point -4, -4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that's point J. Okay, and that's the point -4, comma, -4. Okay, and then point K is the point -2, -1. All right, so that's K, and so that's the point -2, -1. And then the point L is the point 2, -4. It's down over here. So here's L, and that's the point 2, -4. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to connect these with lines. You'll want to use a straight edge. All right, and so now, let me move that so it's a little bit more on the line. Okay, so there we have triangle JKL, and we want to move it over this vector, okay, a vector of 2-5, okay. And so the 2 represents that we're moving each point, okay, we're moving each point 2 units right, 2 units to the right, okay, and that's my horizontal movement, all right. And then the 5 represents that we're moving this 5 units up, okay. So each point, when I translate it, is going to be 2 units to the right and 5 units up, okay. So if I'm going to plot point J prime, after this translation, 2 units to the right, so count 1, 2, and then 5 units up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And that's point J prime. Okay, so now, after the translation, J prime has the point -2, 1. Okay? So now let's do that for point K. So if I go over 2 to the right, and then if I go 5 units up, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plot a point there, that's the point K prime. Okay? So after I translate that, I get K prime, which ends up giving me the point 0, 4. Okay? And then let's do L for L prime. And so I'm going to move 2 units to the right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units up. So here's L prime. Okay, so L prime gives me the value, what is that, 4, 1? Okay, so now let's think about this. Let me connect these real quick, but I want you to think about, you know, if we didn't have a graph, how could we do this? Okay, and what we can do here is we can take a look at how these points, and to go from -4 to -2, from -2 to 0, from 2 to 4, we added 2 to our x values. Okay, so we added 2 to our x values. Notice that 2 is the x value of our vector. Okay, and then from -4 to 1, and from -1 to 4, and from -4 to 1, we added 5 to these and got these new y values, okay? So, and that's all we're doing, okay? And this has just been moved. It's just been slid across this graph, okay, in this direction with a vector of 2, 5. All right, and if we were actually to show that vector, okay, show that movement from k to k, from j to j prime, there we go, there's that one. From k to k prime, there's that one, and then from L to L prime, we get that one. And so actually you get this thing that looks like a three-dimensional figure, but you can see that all of these vectors are parallel to each other, and they're all going in the same direction, and they have the same length. Okay, so that's that. Okay, and example 4, all right, let's do the same thing for L, M, and P. So I'm going to put those points down here, L, M, N, and P. So I'm going to plot point L, that's the point 4, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, up 2. Okay, here's point L, and that's the point 4, 2. Okay, if I plot the point M, that's the point 4, negative 1. So that's M. So let me write that 4, negative 1. Okay, and then point N is the point 0, negative 1. Okay, so this is N. And then that's 0, negative, wait a minute, 0, negative 1. Okay. And then point P is the point 1, 4. So 1 and then 4, and that's point P. Okay, so 1, 4. Okay, so after we translate this, okay, let me connect these with lines real quick. I don't want that one. I want the regular one. Okay. Good. Good. All right. So now what I want to do is translate this over the vector negative 4, negative 3. Okay, so here's my vector, negative 4, negative 3. And so this means, the 4 means that we're going to move 4 units to the left. Okay, because it's negative. That's what that means. We're going to move to the left. This one is positive, so we move to the right. And then if I have a negative 3 value, that's 3 units down. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that for each of those points. Now I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we're going to get, I'll start with L. We're going to move 4 units to the left, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that's L prime. So then after the translation, L prime has the value 0, negative 1. Okay, if I do that for M, go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go down 3, 1, 2, 3. I plot my point M prime down here. Okay, so M prime has the value of 0, then negative 4. Okay, now if I do that for point N, 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3. Okay, here's N prime. And N prime now has the value of, what is that, negative 4, negative 4? Okay, negative 4, negative 4. If we do the same thing for P, I'm going to go to the left 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down 3, 1, 2, 3, and plot a point P there. All right, and that's P prime. Okay, and so then that value, P prime, now is negative 3, 1. Okay, so now what I want you to notice is that how did we go from 4 to 0? 4 to 0, 0 to negative 4, 1 to negative 3. And all I did there was I subtracted 4 from my x values to get my new x values. Okay, with 2 to negative 1, negative 1 to negative 4, negative 1 to negative 4, 4 to 1. How do I go from the left to the right? How do I go from this y value to that y value? And we subtract 3. So if you don't have a graph and you want to be accurate and know what the points are, that's what you can do to get to the next point. Okay, now let me connect these with a line and show you that you know, we have the same, oh, for God's sakes, that we end up getting the same figure. It's just been moved. Okay, and so and this is a little bit more exact than what we had. Now, if I connect these points with their the image to the pre-image points, then we end up getting this same vector. Okay, and actually it should be going the other way. It should be going this way. But you get the idea that all these lines are parallel. They're going in the same direction, and it looks like a three-dimensional shape now. Okay, so I hope that this is helpful for you. Please get started on the homework, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.